Alright, let's start with our exercise 6. Okay. So, 3 points have been given, say this A, B, and C. Now, you can consider them as in the Cartesian coordinate system. Say, for example, the first point is 3.5, 3,5. So, in the x-axis, I go 3, and y-axis, I go 5. So, this is my point, 1 point. The next point was something like this. It was like 4,9. So, I go here, then I go here, something like this. And then one other one is minus 5,8, so something like this. So this is the points. Okay, so we can think of these points in the Cartesian coordinate system x and y. So to visualize these points, as you can see, if I have these points like this way, these 3 points, so it can actually create a triangle like this. So uh, how can I actually do this? How can I actually do this kind of visualization in MATLAB? Okay, so that's what we want to do. Let's take a look at our MATLAB. Here we define these points separately. X points, the X should be separate and Y should be separate array. So the points was 3, 4 and minus 5, and Y was like 5, 9 and 8. Okay, so my first point was 3,5, second point was 4,9, and third point was minus 5,8. So like this way. So what I want to do is like I want to plot this point. Okay, so in the xy plane and see how they look like. Okay, 3 scattered points, so I will call this scatter option a scatter plot. Okay, if I like this way, so let's see. As you can see, a new window will appear. It is named as figure 1. Okay, so first of all, what you want to I want you to do, you can see there is one option that is called dock. If you click it here, it will be docked in your uh, here. It will be docked here. So now you don't have to, it will not actually pop up in a new window. It will automatically appear here. So that will actually that will make your work very easy. So this is my point, this is my another point, and this is my another point. So this is a bit hard to visualize. Let's do something like this: x comma y, then write something like this, field. Okay, now as you can see, okay, now you can actually change visualize the change automatically here. As you can see, it has been filled with like this way. Okay, it has been filled now, so it is actually better to understand. One other thing that we can do is that we can change the axis. So this is the x1 and this is the y-axis. The value is from minus 5 to 4 and 9 to 5, but it is actually created automatically by MATLAB, but I can actually define it by myself. Okay, so let's try to take a look. So I call this command called axis. Okay, so right this way. Within here I will actually set the limits. Okay, within this matrix I will set the limits within this function. So limit should be an array. Okay, it should be like, say for example, I want to create it from minus 10 to plus 10 in the x-axis, then minus 10 to plus 10. Again, whatever in the within the axis command, okay, it should be an array. Okay, this is my minus x, this is my plus x, this is minus y, this is plus y. Let's try to see. As you can see, now I create the axis and change the axis to minus 10 to plus 10 and minus 10 to plus 10 in the y-axis. Okay, so now we can see the try to look at the position much more clear. It actually appeared much more clearly. Now we can actually change it a little bit. As you can see, there are no negative minus y element here. Everything is in the positive side. So we can do like this way. Instead of from minus 10, we can actually make it 0. As you can see, it is actually more centered now. Okay, this way you can actually change the axis by yourself. Okay, so try to take everything slowly one by one, and please it will be better if you write these things down. Okay, it will actually, you will forget otherwise. So all the things that you can do. So first we created a scatter plot from this our three elements, three positions x and y. Then we fill those things, then we change the axis. Okay, now there is another command that's called grid on. it will create this grid, okay, the XY grid. Now I can actually specifically see the position much more clearly. It is in the -5, so this will actually make the things much more clear. So this is called grid on. So let's add some other things like called X level. Okay. As you can see, our plot does not have any name. What is in the x-axis, what is in the y-axis, we don't know. Okay, so let's do something like this. If I use this command x level comma x, as you can see, this x will appear here. Okay, then we can similarly write something like this y level, and the y will actually appear here, this y. So this is the x values and this is the y values. Now I'm just trying to introduce you different things about plotting. Okay, so when you are actually working with a real-time real data visualization, and try to add this much more meaningful, what is the x-axis represent, what is the y-axis represent, and things like that. That's the point of this thing, trying to show you all the things that can be done. Okay, then another one that is called title. Okay, I can give a title of this thing. Okay, say I give a title like uh, xy plane point visualization, xy plane point visualization. Okay, as you can see, the title actually appears. Okay, so these are the things, these are the commands that we can run, and there are many other commands as well. Okay, so I cannot actually cover all of those things now in this class. Okay, so try to go through those, try to actually explore those things by yourself a little bit. Okay, if you look at this, there are many options. If you look at those things, you will find many other options. Change the color, okay, that is one option. Change the length of those things. There are many other options you can see. Now we have only worked with three elements only, 3 points only. What if we actually increase the points? Okay, let's try to increase the points a little bit. Create a new matrix, say for example let's call mat. Okay, get a random integer matrix, randy. Okay, say points from 100. I'll create 2 rows and say 500. Okay, so as you can see, our mat is now 2 by 500 double. So there are many elements, all of those things, okay, within 100, from 0 to 100, all of those things. Let's make it something like this. Let's be different. So let's make it -100 to 100. Okay, now it will be, the negative value will also include here. So now as you can see, since there are so many data, okay, and so many points, try to visualize this, try to understand these points, try to find the meaning of these points is actually a bit difficult. If I want to know how the data is actually spread in the xy plane, using this visualization technique will actually make it possible. Otherwise it is not possible to try and find out each of the points by yourself. Okay, so let's do something similar. So I will call this command scatter x comma y, but now I have this mat matrix. So this first row is the x and the second row is the y. Okay, so I will write like this. So our mat first row, all the column, this is my x, and mat of second row, all the column, and this is my y. Okay, so this will create a new visualization. Try to see. Okay, as you can see, all the points that was in this mat matrix, okay, everything is actually shown here. But one thing, if you have noticed, that your previous figure that we had created before using this one, that has been overwritten. When I do like this, when I this was my first command, everything I was doing here, but when I run this command again with different data, okay, that original plot has been overwritten by this new plot. Okay, so this is one thing to be careful about. If you write like this, your previous one will be overwritten. Okay, so there is a way so that it does not get overwritten. I'm going to show you next. So these are all the distribution of all the points. Now say for example, if you just move your cursor here, you can see what is the value of those points. Now as you can see, this was a random integers, so the distribution is actually random. Okay, you cannot actually there is no certain category of data, like it is stored here or stored in this portion, not like this. It is stored randomly. Okay, so this is something that is called uniform distribution. Okay, so how do we actually understand that? So we can understand that is something called histogram. If I try to plot a histogram, but again, if I try to plot histogram now, this will be overwritten, but I don't want to overwrite this. So what I'll do, I'll write this command called figure. Okay, so if I write like this figure, as you can see, a new window will appear. Don't worry about it. Okay. Now let's plot our histogram on our mat, on our original data. Okay, so what is actually happened here, as you can see, this one is the histogram plot, and let's dock it. Okay, now when I dock it, as you can see, my figure 1 is still intact. It is already named as figure 1, and our histogram is actually saved as figure 2. Okay, now to compare between these two, okay, it doesn't have a name. Okay, so it is actually it will make more sense if I give some label here. Okay, say for example, if I give a label here, so label, that is called histogram plot. Okay, sorry, it should be title. Okay, so as you can see, histogram plot, it is X label or Y label, but title is histogram plot, something like that. Okay, now I believe you have already explored the histogram plot by yourself previously. In your previous lectures, I have showed you that histogram plot. Now let's dive a little bit more. As you can see, there are so many points, but the range is from 20. It is automatically creating the length from minus 180. That means within this range, there are total this amount of points. Okay, so what we can do, if I want to increase this number of points, okay, let's try to understand. I write this command again, figure, because I want to create a new plot. Okay, so like this. Now what I'm going to do, this histogram plot, I add something like this, that is called 100. Say, let's see what actually happens. Okay, so a new plot will be created, and let's dock it. As you can see, compared to that, this one is much more clear. If you try to take a look at here, okay, this data, so this is the bin ages from minus 90 to minus 88, and within this range there are total 17 points. Okay, try to understand what it actually means. Again, here in this bin actually is from minus 70 to 70, and within this range, in the distribution of in the matrix, there are total 14 values, like this way. Okay, and this is the what actually histogram shows. Okay, now so this was our 100. So if I do another one, the figure, it is going to get another figure. And if I do increase this thing to from 100 to 200, let's see what actually happens. As you can see, and dock it, okay, there are much more points. Okay, there are many more points now. And since there are from minus 100 to 100, there are 200 points. We have actually created 200 bins. Okay, these are actually what is called bins, and this is the number of bins. Okay, when you call the histogram plot, by default there should be 10 bins. There is 10 bins. This is by default, but I can actually specify the bins as well. So I have specified here 100 bins. Now I specified here 200 bins. Okay, so similarly like this way. So within this range, minus 24 to 23, there are 12 value. Okay, here within this range, I have this 12 value and something like that. So I believe you got the idea of histogram plot. So in this lecture, we have learned two things. One is scatter plot, and another one is histogram plot. Okay, and there are different other parameters that we can add to our plot. I can name it. I can actually give a X label, then Y label. Okay, things like that. So I believe you got the idea.